Hey, welcome to another episode of Tech Talk. I am your host, Jeff Hutzel, Chief Cloud Officer of Automax. Tech Talk is a show where we talk about all the new and exciting things that are happening in technology today, and we talk about some of the people that are behind those movements and some of the things that hold a lot of promise that we can expect and get excited for the future. So today we are very grateful, very happy to have a wonderful guest, and Jeff Sheffield from the North Florida TPO. So Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So Jeff, I think maybe right off the top, maybe introduce folks that aren't familiar to the TPO and what that means. What you
I
guys
don't think
do.
most know us, but that's okay. We are actually a public sector agency, and our predominant responsibilities for 30 years have been to really prioritize all federal funding for road transit improvements in Northeast Florida.
Okay, so we're talking about transportation, but we're also, Tech Talk, we normally talk about technology. So where has that intersection been?
Yeah, for us, that's been the interesting part, because even in the transportation space, it's not always about just adding more lanes. And so what we've seen, particularly over the last 15 years or so, a much larger play in the tech space with deploying cameras and sensor controllers and Bluetooth sensors along our roadways and starting to generate information so that we can better manage the transportation system. And so with that sort of became our first entree into the tech space.
Sure. And I know you guys were really engaged and involved and looking at the ideas of Jacksonville becoming a smart city as well. So talk a little more about what that means, a smart city.
Yeah, it's been this evolution. So for us, we have been making those type of investments and in the transportation arena. And for us, the backdrop then was in 2016. We had a federal grant opportunity from the U.S. Department of Transportation offering this idea for $40 million to one city to become a smart city. And so it really triggered the thought process, not only for Jacksonville, but for Northeast Florida to contemplate those concepts. And so we did apply. We're not successful, but it made us realize that we could come back and do this anyway.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's spawned and become a much bigger thing and maybe a little bit larger than what the original thought was.
Way larger.
Yeah.
We sort of come back to the table and just said we could continue to advance in the transportation space, given that's our role, that we would develop a plan for the region to move the needle in that arena. What we have realized sort of organically over the last 2 years as part of this is that the idea of tech and data and analytics and community issues go way beyond transportation, and that conversation is very universal. So a lot of interactions now with organizations that are not very typical for us to be interacting with, whether it's homeless facilities or the school system and working to elevate our youth that are in need of devices now that most homework is done online, or creating ladders of opportunity for our low-income communities. When we look at residents with a lot of intellectual capital, but it's either transportation or other obstacles that are really limiting their opportunities, and how could we take not only tech, but take the data behind much of what's deployed in our region in all these sectors and bring that data together so that we can really apply a more comprehensive solution to some of our community's challenges.
Yeah. So how do you get there? I mean, you start talking about tackling societal issues.
Yes,
and
I know.
It's one thing to say, hey, we're going to make traffic flow better.
It
or we're going to
is.
do driverless cars. When you start saying, hey, we're going to help curb homelessness and help improve people's lives and help with education.
I tell you, I'm born and raised in Jacksonville.
Okay.
I've seen Jacksonville evolve, and I feel like we're on the cusp of something fascinating here. I never imagined these types of conversations for me, 27 years in transportation. And so, what's happened over this period of time was sort of incremental. And so the idea of what we rolled out really revealed a tech community, this idea of a data exchange, this idea of entrepreneurs having an opportunity to develop solutions, whether it's apps or other business opportunities to address some of these societal issues. The value proposition in that conversation is what resonated with the tech community. And so suddenly we become aligned. And so engaging that tech community within a public sector environment now that has an initiative that helps them potentially thrive. Creating a platform for investors now who come into our community that invest in the tech space, having the ability through our initiative, which we've termed Smart North Florida, to find those tech entrepreneurs and startups, and then also be able to bridge the gap sort of between the tech community and more of the traditional chambers and economic development arms within the region.
'Cause this is a bigger. This is a bigger project than just one agency.
Immensely.
It's you're talking about a city or a region of the country to get into this. It holds a lot of promise and a lot of opportunity, like you said, for entrepreneurs and tech startups.
It really has, and I think that's really the thought. As a public sector guy, one of the things I thought about the other day was we always talk about public involvement. The reality to that, for the most part, is some level of just public input. Comment at public meetings,
Right.
Tell them what you think about it. I believe that what we're creating in this situation, not intended, but the reality of where it's going, is truly defining public involvement. Because if we are able to create that environment where they can access information and entrepreneurs can create solutions to the same challenges that public sector are trying to do, then that is the true definition of public involvement in the process. And so I'm just could not be more excited about that opportunity.
That's really the powerful use of all that data that you guys are able to gather, and that partnership with the community it holds a lot of promise.
It does.
And not to be just here for North Florida, but also to replicate in other cities across the country.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things. I mean, at its core, this is about breaking down silos.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's public sector departments that are segregated with servers and maintaining data sets to going beyond that, but just breaking down those silos and creating all of the data to be available, and doing that, and building those partnerships sort of one organization at a time. We have gone live with that. So at the smartnorthflorida.com website for the initiative, the North Florida Data Exchange is there. It is not that robust at the moment. It is only transportation data that's in there, but you can see sort of the layout of the other areas of information that we'd like to start to.
And I know you're active now. You're out spreading the word. You mentioned you just spoke at an event yesterday with about 600 people at it. Obviously, you're speaking at the Tech Coast Conference, I think on the 21st?
Yeah, the 21st, we'll be speaking there. And for me, again, it's sort of engaging in a space that I haven't typically participated in. So the more we can get in front of the tech community and really get them to understand, too, that this is an initiative that they can thrive in, hopefully, and partner with, is the goal.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we appreciate you being on the show. I encourage people to go out and check you out, listen to hear you speak, and find out a little more about this. It's definitely exciting and holds a ton of promise. So
thanks for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thanks for being on the show, and thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for always joining us on Tech Talk, and we'll see you next episode.